It's 1933, right in the heart of the Great Depression. Banks have collapsed, jobs have vanished, and across America, hope feels thin and uncertain. But out in the Nevada desert, something different is unfolding. You step off a dusty train into Reno, and you feel it immediately. The air carries the scent of dry earth and cigarette smoke. Automobiles roll slowly down Virginia Street, tires humming against the pavement. Above you, a glowing arch stretches across the road, proudly declaring, "The biggest little city in the world." And Reno isn't hiding a thing. Gambling is legal. Divorces happen fast. The lights stay on all night without apology. While the rest of the country tightens its belt and counts every dollar, Reno keeps rolling the dice. So come with me, and let's travel back in time to explore the original Sin City, long before Las Vegas ever rose to power. To understand why 1930s Reno became what it did, it helps to first understand what kind of place it already was before the rules changed. Reno sits in the Truckee River Valley on the eastern side of the Sierra Nevada, close enough to California to feel like an escape hatch and far enough away to feel like its own world. The geography gave it a dual identity from the start, part mountain gateway, part frontier town with a river cutting through the center, and the feeling that the rules of larger cities simply applied a little less firmly here. In the 1930 census, Reno's permanent population was 18,529 people. That is the entire city. The reputation it built over the following decade was many times larger than the physical place that produced it. And that contrast is part of what makes the story so compelling. The city had already been thinking about its identity before the pivotal year of 1931 arrived. The Reno Arch was first constructed in 1926 in connection with a transcontinental highway exposition, and the biggest little city in the world slogan appeared on it in 1929. Even before the decade's defining legal changes, Reno had understood a modern principle. If people are passing through, you give them a reason to stop. With that backdrop in place, we can now look at 1931, which is the year that set the course for everything that followed. In a single legislative session, Nevada lawmakers made two decisions that changed everything. On March 19th, Governor Fred B. Balzar signed Assembly Bill 98, introduced by Phil Tobin, legalizing wide-open gambling once again. House-banked games could now operate openly in hotels and gaming halls. At the same time, Nevada reduced its divorce residency requirement to just 6 weeks, the fastest in the country. This was not random, it was a strategy. Nevada knew it could not outproduce industrial states. Instead, it would outbid them. Legal gambling, fast divorces, freedom where others imposed restrictions. The national press reacted immediately. Reno was being watched, and more importantly, people were already packing their bags. With the legal framework in place, Reno built an entire parallel economy around the people who arrived to use it, and the daily texture of that economy is worth walking through in some detail. The first practical problem a divorce seeker faced upon arriving in Reno was where to live during the required 6-week residency period. The city solved this comprehensively. Despite having a permanent population of only around 18,000 people, Reno maintained approximately 70 apartment buildings during the 1930s, a number that only makes sense when you understand that a significant portion of the city's occupied housing was serving a rotating population of temporary residents. According to research from the Historic Reno Preservation Society, the 1930s were Reno's divorce heyday, with more than 30,000 divorces granted at the Washoe County Courthouse over the course of the decade. For those with money to spend, the El Cortez Hotel offered the most deliberate expression of what Reno was becoming. It opened in March 1931, planned explicitly in anticipation of the new divorce law, and it became the tallest building in the city at the time of its opening. Rooms came with radios and ground floor services because the hotel's designers understood that divorce seekers were not simply filing paperwork. They were living an extended in-between life, and the city needed to make that period comfortable enough to keep them spending. For those who preferred privacy or wanted distance from the social scene downtown, the guest ranch was the alternative. The area surrounding Reno developed more than 25 operating dude ranches over the course of the era, including the TH Ranch at Pyramid Lake, the Flying M.E. in Franktown, and Washoe Pines in Washoe Valley. These properties offered horseback riding, outdoor activities, and enough physical separation from the city that well-known visitors could complete their residency requirement without attracting excessive attention from photographers and the press. At the center of all of it stood the Washoe County Courthouse, completed in 1911 and transformed by circumstance into one of the most symbolically loaded buildings in the country. The courthouse became so culturally prominent during this era that a stage photograph by Alfred Eisenstadt, showing a young woman kissing one of its exterior columns, appeared on the front cover of Life magazine on June 21st, 1937. The country was not just hearing about Reno, it was seeing it and processing what it represented. One additional detail rounds out the picture of the courthouse's role. Nevada had no mandatory waiting period between obtaining a marriage license and holding a ceremony, unlike California's 3-day requirement. So the same courthouse that processed tens of thousands of divorce decrees also generated a steady flow of marriage licenses. Reno was simultaneously the place where marriages ended and where new ones could begin almost immediately. The city had turned the full arc of that particular life event into a local industry. Having established what the daytime side of Reno's economy looked like, we can now turn to what happened after dark, because the gambling side of the city's identity was developing on its own parallel track. When wide-open gambling was legalized in March 1931, Reno already had venues positioned to take immediate advantage. The Bank Club, one of the city's established gambling halls, completed a full remodel of its ground floor casino within weeks of the law taking effect. The Bank Club reopened its casino floor in 1931, and the speed of that renovation tells you something about how prepared the city's business community already was for the change. The gambling culture that developed in downtown Reno over the following years had a character quite different from the image people now associate with Las Vegas. It was street level, walkable, and built on a storefront scale rather than a resort scale. Virginia Street and the surrounding blocks became a district of connected gambling halls, hotel lobbies, and club entrances, where the whole entertainment economy operated within a few minutes' walk. Two names that would go on to define Nevada gaming took their first steps in this environment. In 1935, Harold Smith, working alongside his father Raymond "Pappy" Smith, opened Harold's Club from a single storefront. The operation began with one oversized penny roulette wheel and a handful of slot machines, and it grew by treating gambling as approachable entertainment rather than an exclusive or secretive activity. Harold's Club introduced female dealers in the late 1930s, a decision that helped reshape how casino culture presented itself to ordinary visitors. William F. Harrah launched a small bingo parlor called Harrah's Club Bingo at 124 North Center Street. The first location did not survive long, but the name and the operating approach that Harrah developed in downtown Reno would eventually become one of the most recognizable brands in the American hospitality industry. The 1930s Reno scene was, in that sense, a training ground for the people and ideas that would define the next generation of Nevada gaming. The loop this created was efficient and deliberate. A visitor arrived for the legal process, settled into a hotel, found entertainment downstairs, met other people in similar circumstances, and spent money at every stage of the experience. Reno had quietly converted personal disruption into a functioning tourism economy. Gambling and divorce were their headline acts, but Reno's wide-open reputation had deeper roots than those two elements alone. The city had a long history of tolerating certain activities within designated boundaries. One of the most documented examples is the area known as the Stockade, part of Reno's red light district that operated on the city's east side under a system of police registration and regular medical inspections. Reno was described by residents of the late 1920s as a comprehensively wide-open town, and the Stockade was its most visible and notorious expression. The legalization of gambling and the divorce trade were not aberrations in an otherwise conservative city. They were additions to an existing culture of practical accommodation, and the combination of all those elements together is what made Reno's national reputation so durable through the decade. As for where Las Vegas fits in this timeline, the distinction is straightforward. Nevada legalized wide-open gambling in 1931, and Reno was a functioning gambling city throughout the 1930s. The first resort on what became the Las Vegas Strip, El Rancho Vegas, did not open until April 3, 1941. Reno held the original Nevada template for adult tourism for roughly a decade before the Strip corridor began to take shape, and the operating model it developed, using law, speed, and entertainment to generate revenue from short-stay out-of-state visitors, was precisely what Las Vegas would later scale up into something global. A city of just 18,529 people, nearly 33,000 divorces in a single decade. Gambling halls are remodeling within weeks of a single law change. Hotels are rising in anticipation of legislation that had not even passed yet. That was Reno in the 1930s, and in doing so, it built something entirely its own. Las Vegas may have grown bigger, brighter, and louder, but Reno was there first. And that brings us to the end of today's journey. If there's another era or city you'd like me to explore next, let me know in the comments. I always look into your suggestions, and if you enjoyed travelling back in time with this AI reconstruction, make sure to subscribe for more stories that bring history to life, and also watch my other videos. Thank you, and see you next time.